Scientists have recorded what happens to the human brain in the minutes after the heart stops, and what they found has genuinely changed the way researchers think about death. For a long time, we assumed that when the heart stops, everything stops. The body, the brain, the person. But in the last decade, studies from some of the world's leading universities have found something different. Something that explains why millions of people who've been clinically dead and brought back describe remarkably similar experiences. Something that suggests the final chapter of life might be more active and more vivid than anyone expected. Here's what science actually knows about the 7 minutes after you die. Before we get into the 7 minutes, there's one thing we need to understand, because it makes everything else make sense. There are actually two different things scientists mean when they say death. The first is clinical death. This is the moment your heart stops beating and blood stops flowing. Breathing stops. From the outside, all the vital signs are gone. The second is biological death. This is when your brain cells, starved of oxygen, begin to die off permanently. This typically begins around 4 to 6 minutes after the heart stops. The gap between those two moments, that's the window scientists have been studying. And what they've found inside that window is remarkable. In the first few seconds after clinical death, your body begins an orderly shutdown. The heart stops first. Blood pressure drops to 0 almost immediately. Within about 10 seconds, your brain loses consciousness. The oxygen that was fueling your neurons runs out and the lights go off. Your muscles lose all tension. If you were standing, you'd fall. Your pupils dilate fully, no longer responding to light. To anyone in the room, you are gone. But here is where it gets scientifically interesting, because gone and over are not the same thing. At the same moment, consciousness shuts off. The brain does something that nobody predicted. It surges. In 2013, researchers at the University of Michigan connected dying rats to EEG monitors, machines that measure brainwave activity. What they expected? A slow fade. Signals weakening gradually as oxygen ran out. What they found? In the 30 seconds after the heart stopped, the rats' brains showed a massive surge of highly organized electrical activity, more coordinated in some cases than when the animals were fully awake and conscious. The specific type of activity, gamma waves, is associated with the highest levels of conscious processing in living humans. Pattern recognition, memory retrieval, attention, awareness. The dying brain wasn't fading, it was firing. Then, in 2023, researchers at the University of Michigan did the same thing with humans. They monitored 4 patients in a vegetative state whose life support was removed. In 2 of the 4 patients, gamma wave activity surged dramatically at the moment of death, concentrated in regions of the brain associated with dreaming, visual processing, and consciousness. These were people who were medically unresponsive, who showed no external signs of awareness, and their brains were more active in their final moments than at almost any point the researchers had measured. The lead researcher, Dr. Jimo Borjagan, said it raised a fascinating question. If a dying brain is producing the same signals associated with conscious experience, could it be experiencing something? Around 10 to 20% of people who are resuscitated after cardiac arrest report a near-death experience. The accounts are remarkably consistent across cultures, countries, and belief systems. A feeling of peace, a sense of leaving the body, a tunnel or movement toward a bright light. A rapid review of life memories, often described as vivi,